Hey, what's up, guys? So we got some good news. Today is Friday, January 23rd, 2026. And as we're getting ready for the Rolex 24 at Daytona, my latest setup mod has been approved and is now live. So if you go into downloadable content, so downloadable content, and it'll already be at the category, then go to vehicle setup. You'll see GT setups, the Xbox One Kenobi. And it has a base setup for each car in the GT class. I can't remember how many there are. There's like 6, 7 cars. Also, make sure you get version 1.0.0.1. Here is, right now it's showing 2. I'll let them know, so hopefully that they can remove this one. But basically, this is the older version, and it has all the same setups except for the Celine is missing that car. I accidentally put in a different car that's from a class I haven't submitted yet, and I don't even think I tuned the car. I think it only just has my force feedback settings, and it's not my actual setup. I think it's I can't remember what class it's from, but so don't, if you see this version, just ignore that version and download the 001, and you'll have the Celine and all the other cars in this GT class with base setups. And I'll try to give you a little information. So just some basics around for those who may want to tweak the car and know nothing about setups. I'll give you a little information. So first thing you want to do is when you're driving the car, I would say drive it on the track as is and figure out which tire compound you need. Is the medium the right compound, or is it too cool and can you go soft? So you really want the tire temp to be, you know, that 180 to 220 degrees Fahrenheit range, somewhere in there. You'll just but you'll know if softs are too soft because they'll routinely run too hot and wear way too quickly. And just know that softer is not always faster. The fastest tire is the one that you can, drive somewhat aggressive in without it overheating and staying in that right window. Where I tune the cars at, I definitely try them at more than one track, but I have kind of a main track where I start at. And under those conditions, it's mediums. Under different conditions, it can definitely be softs. Like Daytona is a place where usually you can get away with running softs. So I would figure out the compound and then figure out the tire pressure. With these cars, you want them running somewhere around 26, 27 PSI. Just try to get those two dialed in. Then if you're at Daytona, you may be able to run less wing. Or if you're at handling track, you may want to go up one click. If the mid to high speed turns, if you're losing the rear end real easy, it feels real light in the rear end when you're going around fast turns, then think about the rear wing. If it feels too loose or too understeery in the slower to mid speed turns, then you may want to adjust the right height. So if it's understeery and you want a little more oversteer, just raise the ride height. I would just do 1 or 2 clicks and see how that goes. If you need a little more stability, like it's a little oversteery, because each track surface is going to be a little different, then just 1 or 2 clicks down. But only change one thing at a time. So get your tires dialed in, and then fill it, and then then you can adjust this, or you can adjust the rear wing, but only do one thing at a time. You'll start chasing your tail if you try to change multiple things at a time. It'll be hard to figure out, what's doing what and what really needs to change. The other thing is, you're always going to have to set your fuel level depending on the track, qualifying versus race. And I'm just using the base gearing. If you're at Daytona or Bathurst, you may want to lengthen the final drive or change the gearing a little bit so you can get more out of it. But those are some basics. So figure out the compound, get the tire pressure. Once you find the right compound, you may need to tweak the tire pressure slightly per track to get the pressure right. And you want to go 4 or 5 laps and really kind of be pushing it to see where it's at after those 4 or 5 laps to know where the pressure's at and dial that in. And then based on how it feels, you may want to more or less rear wing. And then you may want to, raise or lower the ride height in the rear. And if you find that, like, one click of ride height in the rear is too much, like it goes from two oversteer to maybe two understeer, that's usually not the case. But if that is the case, then I would go. Then you can do the same with the front. Like, so you could go with the more oversteery setting in the rear, and then raise the front a little bit to try to balance it out that way. But I hope this helps. Um, I really appreciate all the feedback. I've gotten a lot of positive feedback on the setups, and I'm still learning. So I've already learned things, and I want to go back and um, make some tweaks to some of the GT4, GT3, and other cars. I think the next step from here for me is I want to finish out the GTE and NGT cars. So I've had people saying, "Hey, I've installed your mod, but I'm not seeing anything," and it's because they're driving a car that I don't have a setup for in that class yet. So GT3, GT4, and GT, I have a base setup for each of the cars in that class, but in GT and GTE, I do not. So I think that the next step for me is I am working on several things, but will be to finish out those two classes and then go from there. But again, I hope this helps. I really appreciate all the feedback, and I'll see you guys on the track. Thanks.